Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth podcast. I'm Anish Gupta, and today is the second episode of the QB Whisperer series. You guys showed a lot of love on the first one. I really appreciate that. So the first one was on Josh Allen. Now the second one is on the guy he just played, and I know you saw that Cardinals-Bills game. Someone picked an upset and got a little bit lucky, I'll admit. But the quarterback we'll be analyzing today is quarterback from the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray. So obviously to start out, give up some context as I usually do. Again, this series will be taking into consideration the context, the background of the quarterback, looking at, the years they've been in the league, the strengths, the weaknesses, and obviously is this quarterback a franchise guy? So, to give some background on Kyler Murray, his Heisman year, right? He comes in for Oklahoma, throws 4,300 yards, 42 touchdowns, adds 1,000 on the ground and 12 touchdowns, and he wins the Heisman over Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State and Tua from Alabama. And, it was a little bit of a surprise. He actually came in late and then took the award. He was a baseball kid, right? We all know that. So it shows in his running how he slides really well. But the doubt on him, and you see all the memes, he's short, he's 5'10". But I think the best part is that he's mobile, and I think it's showing that, yes, you can be short in this league, but you have to be mobile. I think aside from Drew Brees, who's still, 6 foot, the short guys, if you're not mobile, it's not as practical, considering that it's so tough for you to look over defenders. And we're seeing it with quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield. But again, this is not about Baker. This is about Kyler Murray. And, I always call Cliff Kingsbury, his coach, the OG QB whisperer, considering that he saw Mahomes' talent before anyone else, really. So let's talk about his rookie year, right? He wins 5 games. And I'll admit, because I know my friends are probably going to call me out on this, I was not the biggest fan of Kyler Murray. I really wasn't. I wanted to see more from him, and I finally got to see that, quote-unquote, more from him this year. His rookie year, he had 20 touchdowns and 12 picks, right? He had 540 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. It was a good rookie year. It wasn't anything special. I think a lot of people were surprised that he won Offensive Rookie of the Year over a guy like Josh Jacobs. But I think, he had a couple good wins, right? The two I take note of because I watched them were at Seattle last year and where he basically demolished Cleveland, obviously as a Browns fan. It was a tough loss, but, Kyler looked good and it showed me some promise. But I think, his rookie year, he was sacked a league high 48 times, right? And he was always looking to escape the pocket, and especially the left, which I found really weird considering that he's a right-handed guy. But it's just every time it seemed like he was trying to leave the pocket. And as a result, it just didn't give his offensive line time to set, which is why he got sacked so much. But his sophomore year, right, he already has more wins than he had last year. He's 6-3. He has one of the best deep balls. That was coming into this year as well. I had a lot of friends tell me that. But, we're seeing it now with, obviously, Deandre Hopkins. But his threat he's a red zone rushing threat. 10 rushing touchdowns, that is unheard of for a quarterback. And we're only 9 games in, or he's only 9 games in. That is absolutely crazy. So we have to give him credit there. The dude is probably the most elusive quarterback right now. I would say he's more elusive than Lamar Jackson. Just the way he moves, it's really quick. He doesn't take long strides, which, you would argue is bad considering that, you would rather take longer strides. But in the NFL, I think shorter strides allow you to move quicker and, swerve your way through defenders. So it really helps Kyler Murray. And the keynote is he's only been sacked 10 times this year, right? And it's been through 9 games. So he's on pace for only about, 19 and a half, around 19 to 20 sacks. And that just shows how he has better pocket presence. He's trusting his arm and staying within the tackle box, which allows him to get the ball out quicker. And that allows his offensive line to set. Obviously, his offensive line did get a little bit better, but, there were still questions about it coming into the year, right? Aside from, I think, Josh Jones via the draft, they didn't really do much on. And I thought, there were some questions. But they've definitely held up, and that's partly because Kyler Murray has been doing less of rolling out all the time and staying in the pocket. So that's definitely something that he's improved on his sophomore year. So, let's talk about some strengths. Again, being elusive, right? For him, the play is never dead. And we literally just saw it today on probably the best play of the year. That throw was just incredible. I'm probably going to put it up on the screen, but let's picture it, right? 11 seconds left, and he rolls out to his left. He shrugs off a defender, and on the run, right to his left side with one arm. He didn't even use his second use. Like for example, Russell Wilson on his deep balls, he usually uses his left arm to at least place the football a little bit and then let go. Kyler used his one arm throughout, and that just shows how much it's that baseball background, right? As an outfielder, right, he can throw it really far and really accurate. And it was just an incredible throw. I mean, obviously, DeAndre Hopkins, what a catch over 4 defenders. But we have to give credit to the throw there. That was insane. It was like a fifth, maybe. I think it traveled at least 65 yards through the air. So it was a really good throw. That brings me to my next point about his strength, right? His release is, I mean, I talked about Josh Allen's release. I mean, Kyler Murray's release is like, I want to try and mirror myself when I play quarterback with my friends at times. Like his release is just incredible. And again, it goes back to the whole baseball background. Like he fires he's got a cannon. And his accuracy because of his arm, it's just tremendous. I mean, I've seen him hit some really tight throws all over the field, really, whether it be short, a 10-yard slant or a seam up the middle. I mean, he trusts his arm and he has faith in it. But, and I always go back to this one, and it shows how he's coachable, because I want to say this about Kyler Murray too. Kyler Murray is not a running quarterback, but he's a quarterback that runs. So let me kind of break that down, right? That he's not always looking to run first. I mean, we haven't really seen many of those guys. We can talk about Colin Kaepernick. I'd say to some extent Lamar Jackson is that, but Kyler Murray is not that. He can take, like, for example, he accepts the blitz. Most quarterbacks will shy away from it. When when defenses blitz Kyler Murray, he stays in the pocket. Which is very ironic, but he does. I mean, he stays in the pocket and he will fire it down, and usually down the middle, but he's got one of the best, awarenesses type things. And the awareness stat on Madden, it should definitely go up for Kyler Murray. Like he's aware of the blitzes, especially the ones coming out to the side, and he knows how to make the right read. And I think that's why when I say he's not a running quarterback, but a quarterback that runs, it shows that he's a pass. He can win you games just by throwing, but he can also win you games by running. I mean, you see it in the red zone. I mean, he doesn't even rely on it. It's just when the play is not there, I know I can get Kyler Murray to run for a first down on a 3rd and 9. That's the type of quarterback I got when Kyler Murray is under center. So, and there's another thing with that. I think that allows him to be so coachable, because since he's so mobile and since he brings another dynamic to this game, I think it allows, the play calling to be so different. So for example, his rookie year, it was designed to his elusiveness, right? A lot of, RPOs, a lot of bubble screens, rollouts to the left, and, throwing on the run. I mean, even now, especially with a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, you see the play style is just so diverse, especially with, a guy like DeAndre Hopkins that can go down the middle, up the seam, right? It just makes him and the entire offense better because of his talent. So, and there's also another thing with him being coachable. It's the fact that he is learning while playing. I talk about this with young quarterbacks all the time. I mean, I've said it with Justin Herbert too. But, actually, Kyler Murray was one of the first guys I noticed this from. So, for example, week 1 against the Lions, his very first game as a starter, he throws it on the run to try and make a play, and it was a interception. It was a bad one, right? But, hey, it's a rookie mistake. The same game, it was the exact same play, except he learns this time. He learns to throw it away. So I think it shows that he knows himself. He's learning the game, and he knows what his limits are, but he also has faith in what he can do. So I think it's a very bold statement that I'm making, but I think when a quarterback knows their limits, but they know what they can do, it just shows how they can become better and how they can perfect their craft and the things that they are talented at, while not trying to do everything. Right. So like there are other quarterbacks, I'm not going to name them, but there are some that, try and make every play or try and be like a Patrick Mahomes or a Russell Wilson or, an Aaron Rodgers. You can't. I mean, quarterbacks are designed differently. Everyone is different. I mean, some quarterbacks are good at some things and some are good at others. Kyler Murray has a diverse arsenal to him, so he can be good at many things, but he knows what he is. And I think, that's a key part of this offense, and that's why they've become so good. Now, I think their weaknesses, there aren't really much. I would say two major ones. One is that he throws off his back foot a lot, and I saw this in his rookie year too. He tends to lean back when he throws, and I don't know why, but he makes it hard on himself. Uh, it's a weird thing, but I don't know why. Even on the run too, I think he needs to set his feet more. And again, that's why he was sacked a little bit, a lot in his rookie year. But again, he's definitely fixed most of those problems. But again, set your feet more, dude. Like, I mean, not every play has to be like that Hail Mary where you're just throwing on the run, just a prayer, right? It doesn't have to be that. Um, but another thing also is he tries to muscle in every throw. So that tends to happen with quarterbacks with a strong arm, right? Again, like I've talked about it with Carson Wentz. It's just you don't have to force everything. Throw it up over defenders more. And I know that's hard because he's 5'10", but if he can get himself, quote unquote, open, like get himself away from defenders, or at least a pass rush, throw it up over defenders rather than trying to force it in, because that if you try and force stuff in, that gives defenders an opportunity. If you can throw it over them, you only give the receiver a chance for it, and you wait to see if they can make a play. And especially with a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, right? I mean, also Christian Kirk is very talented. Larry Fitzgerald doesn't really drop anything. So you give your receivers a chance to do it rather than both the receiver and the corner or DB to make a play. And again, DeAndre Hopkins has been such a big piece for him, and it just shows how if you can give the right pieces around a quarterback, they become better too. It's not necessarily they're getting carried or whatever. It's just, people uplift each other. It's just how it works in anything. I mean, beyond football as well. I think, to add off of that, is he a franchise guy? Of course he is. I mean, this dude is a legit MVP candidate. I think, in terms of when I'm recording this, I mean, again, Russell Wilson had another 3-turnover game. He's really losing it. And I mean, I'm still a believer that Patrick Mahomes will win it. But, are guys like Kyler Murray and Josh Allen out of it? Hell no. I mean, if Kyler Murray continues this, I mean, right now he's atop of the division. This Cardinals team is looking really, really dangerous. I mean, obviously there's some questions on their defense. There's also some questions on how can Kyler Murray play when the game slows down. It's different, right? Like he plays very fast pace, no huddle, hurry up, that type of thing. But, when it comes down to running the football a little bit more, colder weather, that's another thing, right? I mean, I don't know if they'll keep the division lead, right? They'll probably have to play a road game in the cold. So what will happen then? Because he can rely on his running ability, but how does his arm respond to that type of stuff? How does he respond to cold weather? We haven't seen it yet. And that's not a knock on him. It's just he's young, and I'm very excited to see it. I'm pretty sure they will make the playoffs, right? Whether they be a division team or a wild card. But let's see what he does. I mean, this Kyler Murray is a very intriguing prospect. He's one of those guys that is just, again, elevating the game for short quarterbacks, right? These under 6 foot guys, and it's giving. He's not necessarily changing the game, but he's adding to it. He's adding to a trend that we're seeing, and it's just amazing to watch. Again, this Cardinals-Bills game, I mean, obviously I'm recording it right after one of the best games. I would argue it's the best game I saw all year. Again, that play, this wasn't – I didn't choose Kyler just because of that. I was planning to do it, but just the plays that he's made all year. Again, I told this on the podcast other times. The game that sold me was against the Seahawks in primetime. If you can do stuff, when the lights are on you, it shows that you're not afraid of the moment. Kyler Murray is not afraid of the moment. He is not afraid to take on a challenge. And it shows with his confidence, especially in his arm. And again, that's what I want in a franchise leader. A guy who's able to learn, very coachable, like I said, right? There are some mistakes for sure, but he's learning as he goes. And he's only getting better. He's one of those guys that is taking that leap. He doesn't have to take a huge exponential jump. I mean, one could argue he actually has, but I think he's just becoming better and better, right? Turnovers, he'll probably start to cut down next year. He already has 8 versus, what he had last year. I think he only had 12. He's already got 8 picks in, but that's fine because he's winning games. If you can win games, like I said, second year, you tend to win more games. He's doing great. I mean, very excited to see this kid play. I think the playoffs will be a huge test and another, milestone for him and in our analysis of him. So to kind of wrap this episode up, let me know what you guys think, right? This is another guy who I actually wasn't high on. He's not, no bias intended in this. I try to keep it out, be as objective as possible. But let me know what you guys think. Is Kyler Murray the right fit for the Cardinals? I think he really is. But do you guys think he could win the MVP? Do you guys think he could be, one of the top 5 quarterbacks for the next 5 years? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm curious to hear from you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. All our socials will be down there in the description, as well as the Josh Allen one if you want to take a look at that, because he also played really well today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.